To share a really quick tip, I'm going to be outfitting the walls of my internal shop, you know, the indoor shop, which is where I do my sewing, 3D printing, electronics work, that kind of stuff. All is in my kind of newly set up indoor work area, and I need to get some like pegboard and some shelves and stuff built. But that got me thinking about this tip. So I've always done this, but I always fudged it before in the past, and what I'm talking about is, you know, say like you're building a desk or a table or, you know, anything really. In this case, it'd be shelves, right? And say you have your top shelf, and it comes across, and you want to put like a bottom bracket on it, right? Now you could, of course, just make a little triangular bottom bracket, right? And that's fine. It would look, you know, like a boring shelf. But if you wanted to kind of just, you know, spruce that up a little bit without doing a whole lot of work, you could add a couple of complementary curves in here to sort of just increase the way it looks, right? Now, those could be any combination of the trick I'm about to show you. So it doesn't have to be one-to-one. It's just a matter of being able to put a bunch of curves next to each other easily without doing any math or plotting them out ahead of time, and you won't need anything but a compass. It should also be pointed out that this trick comes directly from this book, which I can't recommend highly enough. I was lucky enough to attend George Walker's talk at WIA. Was it last year? Year before that? I don't know. In any case, it was a fantastic talk. Bought the book. This technique is described in, I believe, chapter 5. Which is on molding design and whatnot, but it's just such a handy trick. I'm going to show it to you here. So let's say that you want, I don't know, let's say you want this, instead of going straight, to come out and swoop back. Now, I've always kind of fudged these designs in the past with like French curve or whatever, but there is kind of an easier way. And you can do this as 2, you can do this as 3. They don't have to be even, but there's a nice way to make all of these complementary curves look good, and that's what this tip is about. So whatever line you're going to be, you know, these curves are all going to take place on. And it can be any, you know, length, it doesn't matter. You will need a compass large enough to work with it. But let's just say, for instance, that that's 9 inches. Let's say that we want some complementary curves. For whatever reason, we want one at 3, 4 inches, and 2 inches, right? Getting these to look really good would be kind of a pain. The problem is the transition angles are really, really important. And unless you just want to, again, fudge it and then sand them smooth and hope nobody notices, which is fine, I've done that. Yeah, it's just not great, where there's actually a really easy way to do it normally. Now, what you're going to be doing, take your compass, set it to the distance that you're going to make your arc for. I don't know what this distance is. I mean, I do because I kind of measured it, but you don't have to know, is what I should say. You're going to bisect the line segment here. You're going to use that to draw an arc. This is going to give you a 1/6 circle. Now, really what the trick comes down to is when you want complementary curves, all the circles, regardless of their size, have to use the same portion of a circle. So this is a 1/6 circle. So as long as we use a 6th circle here, regardless of how big it is, it'll look good. The transition will be smooth. Oops. Long screw. I built these damn things. You'd think I know how to use them. Okay, so now we're going to do the exact same thing, but in the opposite direction. And again, these circles can be any size. They don't need to be, you know, this, you know, or, you know, these sizes. And we can continue this all day long, right? Making circles of different sizes, and this gives you a nice gentle sweep. So like I said, this is a 1/6 of a circle. This is the same thing as if you were to do it with a half circle. If you were to do a half circle, obviously you'd have a higher arc. And if you can figure out how to, with a compass, plot different portions of a circle, which isn't all that difficult, then you can kind of get any portion that you want, right? You can get, you know, anything from like, you know, say like a 1/6 all the way up to a half, and they'll always be complementary. So just for giggles, we'll do this one as well. And the advantage to this also is that because this technique doesn't rely on a French curve and doesn't rely on, like a bending stick or something like that for, doing curves like, like you might do on like a long, table skirt or something to that effect. You can reproduce this digitally, which makes this really, really easy to turn into digital plans or to plot, for 3D purposes or 3D printing purposes or what have you, whatever you're doing. And like I said, you can do this exact same technique in any digital software, literally by putting up the arcs. It's that easy. And the reason that this is a sixth of a circle, of course, is because the radius here is going to be the same distance here. It's basically a sixth, or a hexagon. So a hexagon, each chord of a hexagon, each point around the circle is going to be the same as the radius. So that's why you end up with these sixths, and you end up with these really pretty gentle curves. Let me trace this in Sharpie so you can see a little better. And there you go. It's really that easy. Like I said, not my idea. Doing it this way came directly from this book, or rather George Walker, by way of a talk about this book. So check this book out. It's full of great stuff like that. In fact, just as a practice, it's kind of fun to just make a bunch of them. See, nice, easy, pretty, organic curves, easy to plot, easy to draw. Don't need anything but a compass. So if you like these tips, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you later, YouTube.